Hey folks, ET here coming at you with the week ahead, and tonight we are going to cover Carvana, Target, and MRNA. Just some random things I picked up running through scanning, just flipping through different things. If you want to know kind of where I look for my setup, I click for optionable, and then I check different kinds of levels. I'll look for horizontal support. I'll uncheck that and click horizontal resistance, and I'll just kind of sort through and see what I see. Sometimes I'll measure by relative volume to see who's actually getting decent pulls, things like that. Then I just kind of go through and start randomly picking some tickers that I like from there and looking at their data. So let's go ahead and start with Carvana. We'll just take a look at its biggest dark pool level, which is at 36.13. So that is just a little bit below where price is currently. So that's all we're going to look at for the dark pool. We're just going to check to see where its largest aggregate level is and move on to its options data. So let's just scroll up here. I've got everything all set up for us already. Its heat map's pretty interesting. Still has some pulls to the 40. Its 5-day MNF is kind of pulling down a little bit. Its net flow's coming down just a little bit, but still pretty bullish there. Obviously, you know, we had a little bit of a weird day Friday. Kind of a range day for everything, a little bit downside going there. It does have some bullish dealer Greeks total returns here, but it's just a little bit. This isn't one that I'm necessarily going to look at for it because it's not something that I generally play too much. Going into Monday, looks like a very interesting day, potentially round trip if we're looking at this Monday price distribution. So in moves like that, if we start off high, then I will short, and if we start off low, then I'll go long. Just seeing what we're looking at here. Tuesday, just slightly bearish, and then we're looking at another mixed day. Wednesday, Thursday starts to get a little stronger into the week, and then Friday a little stronger as well, with still a little bit of bearish leaning. Interesting thing here, dealer OI is bearish, and customer OI is also bearish on this. We've already got its largest aggregate level pulled up, which is 40, with its negative aggregate level, which is 40. Right here, so that's its biggest pull, so that's a little bit above where price is right now, as the dark pool was, and its biggest potential bounce spots are 25, or repel at least, and 30. Just taking a quick look at its chart. 30 would be a pretty massive pullback from where it is, but this thing has been moving pretty wild. So one of two ways that are potential to play this. Obviously, if we are having a bullish day, we get up to our 40 and maybe retake a look, because there is some downside there. I'd really rather have it come down to the 30 somehow, go ahead and drop big for some longs up into this, maybe a few weeks out. But this is a garbage ticker in my opinion, so one that I would only play scalps and not swings. So I'll be honest, so I'm just going to watch these levels throughout the day, set a few price alerts for any upside to potentially short, since we do have a few days of potential short there, and then maybe not even look at it into the week, since it's showing some bullish stuff. If it happens to tap that 30 down there, maybe try to pull it back up for a mid-range of there, 34, 35 or something like that. Just go in there. We're just going to go ahead and look at its GEX and VEX profile. It's supported all the way down and up, so not something that I'm too interested in looking at there. We've already covered its levels, so let's go ahead and jump into Target. We're going to go ahead and grab its largest dark pool, which is 131.89. So if we take a quick look at the chart, it is just about right up in here, not too far from where price is currently. Interesting, if we look left, only about one time in recent memory have we hit this level and really stayed below it for a long time. It seems this 130 is pretty intensely strong for Target at the moment. There's a sizable ghost zone down to 128, and even a larger one up to 135. Since it's been consolidating in this area for so long, what I'd really ideally like to see is just a 130 tap, or maybe a few candles below before it gets above, maybe to swing some 135s. Let's check its data real quick to see what it looks like for some potential there. Its net flow is quite bearish going 5 days out, so that's not too positive of a look if we're going that way. It does have some returns on its dealer Greeks build up, but nothing really of note that would make me want to say, okay, I definitely want to buy that. These aren't the win percentages we're looking for here. We're looking for the higher ones like Tesla. Monday it is showing bearish, which could lead to that thesis of getting that dip down to 130 or below. And then as you see, we start to lean a little bit more bullish one day, and then wow, quite a bit bearish 3 days in. So this is an interesting one for target. It's showing a lot of bearish price distribution. It's just one data point, so we don't necessarily have to rely on it as the only data point possible, but we do want to keep in mind what it could be potentially saying. And these do change sometimes throughout the day, so you could see a bearish lean when the market opens for the next day, and by the end of the day it could switch to a little bit bullish. So we could actually potentially fill that ghost zone down to 128 if we have a couple of those bearish days, which would be even sweeter for a swing up a little bit later on. A couple of conflicting data points on that, though, that should give me some pause from wanting to long it. Dealer OI is bearish, and customer OI is still bearish. Now, these can flip a little bit, right? These can flip somewhat for us as we go throughout the week, and so we always want to recheck them to see if the data is changing. Excuse me. But one important thing to point out is 140 is its current biggest aggregate pull towards the upside. So that's for 721. If we're looking at 728, 135, kind of helps the thesis a little bit right there of 135 calls might work. If we go a little further out, we're still seeing some big aggregate to 135, and then right around 135 to 140 is where price is supported the most. So these are the two things that I actually give the most weight to. If I'm being honest with you, the largest pull for the week, for that week's expiry, and then a few out, are usually where I give the actual most weight to where I'm looking. So we're below a lot of these right now. We're kind of sitting at this 131. 130 is a decent pull, you know, and so if we manage to get down to that 128 somehow, I'll probably still go long and look for some data to flip somewhere on it, especially with that biggest pull with 135. So if we're at 128, I'd probably take maybe 132, 133 a week out, and then just let those do their thing towards the upside, unless I get stopped out towards the downside, obviously. All right, last up is MRNA. We're going to check it out. I've already got its levels pulled, I think, so let me go ahead and see if I did that right. Sure did. Look at that. It is kind of near support here, and there's really, and this is what's crazy about Moderna, not anything below it currently, and it's got a very nice ghost zone here. So this is one of those plays. Once we check the data, we'll see, but one of those things that I'm potentially looking for a little bit of upside pull to. 123.38 is its current largest dark pool, so we are below that right now. So could see a little bit of rejection around there, but we don't know. It had that big gap down on Friday, obviously. So this is one of those ones that I'm looking at. I would love a 120 tap, but as you can see, we're kind of riding this line right here. So you could, if you really wanted to, you could add a line here, which wouldn't be a GEX level, but you can see where these wicks, where this price discovery happens right around here, and you can kind of check that and see where we're kind of going. All right, so let's get into its options. It's not real heavy anywhere, pretty light, and obviously you can see a lot of calls sold off on Friday. This is our 5-day right here. It came down big time, and so a little bit of puts were picked up. Doesn't have the best win percentages for our Dealer Greeks backtest, and it's pretty mixed when we're looking at our net put delta, which is shrinking, our net call delta, which is slightly going up. So we're not too interested there. Let me see if I can get its price distribution up. It was glitching out for me a little earlier. There we go. There it is. All right, so it's still showing some bearish leanings going into Monday, Tuesday as well. Looks bearish all week so far if we're looking at it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to continue to just go straight down. It could just mean that literally it gets down to our 120, maybe closes a little bit below, gets up around, and then works its way back up. But it looks like to me, at least, even though those price distributions are showing bearish across the week, that if we can hold this 120, that I would probably think about going long on it. Let's go ahead and check the rest of its information. Going into 818, it is actually bullish dealer positioning and bullish customer position, which does help a long thesis a little bit. And then I think I've went ahead and pulled this up already. Let's go ahead and check. I did not. This is at 721 expiry filters with its biggest pull. Guess what? At 130, we're near 120 as its second biggest pull. So let's take a look at its chart again. Where's that ghost zone fill to? 130. This is one of those ones that if there's any downside tomorrow at open, I'm probably going to swing long on this for a little bit and follow my rules, set my stops, and give myself 130 a few weeks out to see what happens. That is what I am watching for the week. Let's go ahead and check its, just real quick, its Gex and Vex profile. Once again, supported right around that 130 we're looking at, so that's also pretty interesting. This is what I'm watching for the week. If you missed Saturday's video where I covered how I find swing plays using all of these Gex levels and their biggest pulls, there are some tickers in there that I am watching as well, so go ahead and give that one a look. So that would give you 6-7 tickers that I am actually actively watching for the week and what levels I am paying attention to. Everybody have a great week. Stay safe out there and go get that Oprah money.